Today we're going to discuss Saturday World Beats Jazz Saint Lucia Jazz 2026, right? Excited about it today. Excited to be back. I'm in the office. Sorry I could not bring you all an episode from the islands. Well, it was hectic, right? Now, you know what hurts the most sometimes? Not traffic, not the long lines, not even the overpriced drinks. It's when you look around your own country and realize your own people sometimes feel like guests in their own home. I won't lie, and that's exactly how I felt during Saint Lucia Jazz 2026. Now, before anybody gets defensive, let me say this clearly. The artists, they were amazing. The energy, electric. The production, world class. I work in production. But there are some conversations we absolutely need to have as Saint Lucians, especially if we want tourism to truly benefit the people who build the culture that visitors come here to experience. And today, yes, we're going there. We are going to go there. We're going to have a serious conversation about this. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Al Philogen, aka Matlo, and you're listening to Island Vacation Travel Podcast. Today's episode is as raw as it could get. Honest, passionate, and also balanced. We're going to be fair. This is not an attack on St. Lucia in no way, shape, or form, because I personally deeply, deeply love my island of St. Lucia. I am from the town of, the community of De Riso, right? I represent St. Lucia proudly around the world. Everywhere I go, we have our flags in several different forms, right? And I am the owner of Island Vacation Travel Agency and also the owner and host of Island Vacation Travel Podcast and the owner of IVTA Wear, right? And I also understand tourism from a business side and have a degree and also a few certificates for tourism and hospitality management, event management, culinary, bar management, just to name a few, right? Certified in a few countries. So this episode comes from someone who is actually genuinely wants the best for our island and want to see the island evolve in the right way. Want to see it improve and become stronger for the locals and also the visitors because they bring in the revenue. We must never forget that, right? Now, because St. Lucia Jazz has the potential to be one of the greatest cultural events in the Caribbean, that is my opinion. I've seen a few events. I do a lot of events in Orlando, including EDC. I'm a lighting technician, audiovisual technician, so I actually know what I'm talking about. Now, let me correct that because in many ways, it already is one of the greatest cultural events in the Caribbean. It really is. But there are some gaps that need to be fulfilled. And if nobody's saying anything, nothing is gonna change. Silent mouth do not make anything happen. You don't get fed like that or anything. So we're gonna go into that today. Now, the energy of World Beats Nights. First of all, let's talk about the positives. We want to focus on the positives because there were many positives. Saturday night at World Beats had energy, guys. Energy, energy, energy. The crowd showed up. Hey, the fashion, yeah, they were there. The vibes were there as well. People from all over the world were mixing with locals. Music was flowing through the air. And when you attend an event like that, you remember why St. Lucia has some potential globally. Well, not even some. We are already there. We have 2 Nobel laureates. We have Darren Sammy, and we have the great Julian Alfred right now as the fastest woman in the world. Olympics, right? Now, the production quality this year was actually really solid, I must say. The sound was good. The lighting was good. The transitions between the performance, they were smooth overall. Must say. Okay? Now, yes, there was a brief sound interruption at one point, but it wasn't too bad. Let's be realistic. This happens at major events all over the world, whether it's concerts in New York, festivals in London, or even shows in Miami. Technical issues happen everywhere. That's how audiovisual technicians have a job, right? The important thing is the downtime wasn't long and they actually recovered really quick, relatively. You know, sometimes it can be really bad, right? So, credit where credit is due. The event overall felt like a major event, and that matters. It really does, because perception matters in tourism. It actually is almost everything, right? Perception is a big deal, right? Now, guys, this episode is actually brought to you by Island Vacation Travel Podcast, sponsored by Island Vacation Travel Agency, helping travelers and business plan smarter, stress-free trips with a personal touch and global insight. Now, whether you're planning a luxury Caribbean escape, group getaway, or a business trip, or even destination experience, Island Vacation Travel Agency helps simplify the process from start to finish, right? And if you want to travel in a comfort while supporting local transportation solutions in Central Florida, where we live, check out Island Vacation Transportation, professional, reliable, and comfortable. Also, shouts out to our friends at Blessings CMOS. Big up to y'all. Check it out. If you're from Saint Lucia, if you're in Saint Lucia and you're a health buff, guys, they have actual jello that's made out of CMOS. So it is very healthy, very nutritious, and it is gluten free. So we want to go ahead and support Blessings CMOS right out of St. Lucia for supporting the culture and Caribbean entrepreneurship. We love our entrepreneurs. So good job. Very, very good job. Now, next, let's go right into it. The artist actually stole the show, guys. Now, let's talk about the performances. Because the artist delivered. Honestly, some performances surprised me in the best way possible. Honestly, big ups to Princess Lover. If you don't know who she is, you might want to Google who Princess Lover is. Just wow. You've made a few fans, right? What a pleasant surprise. Her stage presence was strong, her confidence was there, and she connected with the audience naturally. That performance felt authentic, and authenticity actually matters because audiences can tell when somebody is truly connected to their craft or not. Let's talk about St. Lucia artists too. I thought our local performers represented the island well as well. And this is why I keep saying, local artists deserve more visibility at the events. More stage time, more stage time, more stage time, right? More promotion, more positioning. Positioning is very important for artists, for the local artists in the Caribbean. They do not get a chance to be on a world stage very often. So when they do, especially in the country, they should be positioned, promoted, and be given adequate stage time to show us what they do and how they do it, right? Not just side stage recognition or allowing them to be in VIP. No, real recognition, because St. Lucia has talent. We've found that out in many different ways. Massive talent at that. And then we have so many artists that I run into just walking through the event. Just not even in the VIP. One of my friends, I want to say big ups to you, Eddie Balas. And if you haven't tuned into Eddie Balas's music, you probably want to check it out and support him. He is great, he's awesome, and personally, he's my friend. That's why we got to support him, right? So, and also, that is a dope musician, right? Next, we have LMA. Wow. LMA hit the stage. That moment was actually memorable. She controlled the crowd, and control is not easy, guys. Anybody can sing. Not everybody can command a crowd. She got participation from the Saint Lucians. People were engaged. People were singing back. People were moving. That's actual star power. Then came Thames. Personally, we love Thames. I listen to Thames almost every single day. I have this one song. Thames, yes. I listen to Bob Marley, we listen to Richie Spice, and we listen to Thames and Elaine's music. Yes. And of course, I love Vibes Cartel. But Thames was amazing. And listen, Thames gives the people an experience. Just fun, 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 and more fun. People were dancing, people were vibing, people were listening attentively. That's what great artists do. They created emotional moments. For a little while, people forgot about stress and all the wars that are happening in the world. Forgot about the bills, forgot about work, forgot about the problems. Music became therapy. I know that's what happened to me, right? And that's why events like Saint Lucia Jazz matter so much culturally and also economically, right? Next, supporting locals should not be optional, in my opinion. Okay? Now, this is where the conversation becomes uncomfortable, but very necessary. As somebody from Diriso and somebody who owns a travel agency and actively brings business to St. Lucia, I have to say I am disappointed in certain aspects of how locals are treated compared to foreigners. It is very sad and heartbreaking. And I'm going to say it plainly. The imbalance is becoming too obvious. We can see it, we can feel it. It is not welcoming and is not feeling very satisfactory. All right? Supporting foreigners over locals is, sorry about that, supporting foreigners over locals in certain tourism spaces is dangerous long term. I'm going to repeat that to St. Lucians and St. Lucia and the government of St. Lucia. Supporting foreigners over your locals in certain tourism spaces is dangerous in the long term. Tourism cannot survive sustainably if locals feel disconnected from the benefits. And sometimes it feels like St. Lucians are tolerated instead of celebrated in their own spaces. That is not acceptable. That should never, ever, never happen. America does not put any foreigners over their own. England doesn't put any. France, Germany, Russia, China. What are we doing? And let me clarify something. Treating Venice visitors well is very important because we need their currency. It is very important. Tourism is our economic engine. We do not have agriculture. It was taken by the government and they've made deals behind the people's back that tourism is gonna be the bread and butter. Tourism is actually our economic engine for the Caribbean. Once upon a time, it used to be agriculture. We got used. We cannot allow it to happen again. But locals should not feel secondary inside their own culture, especially at cultural events that are built from St. Lucian identity. And one thing that really bothered me was seeing my legendary local entertainers almost blending into the crowd as spectators. Artists like Ricky T, artists like Eddie B, these are not random people. These are artists who help push St. Lucia culture internationally. Eddie was based in New York promoting St. Lucia. In all his music, he always used to talk about the island. Ricky T has actually gone and represented St. Lucia to the NBA, the National Basketball Association, in Canada, in New York. Come on, guys. They represent the island on a world stage. So seeing them simply existing in the crowd without greater involvement felt very wrong. Personally, I tried to actually have a nice little conversation with Ricky T. I could have told that he's there. He was nice to me. He was pleasant to me. But I could tell, man, he should be backstage or with the international artists so you could learn something from them. Or you could be spectator right there. You're important, man. So I totally agree. Also, I had a conversation with Eddie, and he told me he was Eddie B. He was in VIP, but he felt that he needed to come out and network. You know, the only purpose of VIP is for him to network and be right there. Personally, I feel like artists should be backstage. I do production. That's where artists stay, so that's how you could network. That's how you could be able to network with another international artist to build a song. That's how you could meet producers, scouts, just different people from different Billboard, be like Billboard or Rock Nation or Live Nation. You know, that's how you get in the loop of things. Not because they need celebrity treatment, because cultural contribution deserves respect. And that's to all our St. Lucian artists, from Herb Black to Papa Vader to everybody. They deserve that respect. Recognition matters. Your reputation matters. Inclusion matters. Yes, it does. It goes a very, very long way. Right? Now, I want to give a quick shout out to IVTA Wear, right? Which is our brand, or clothing brand, and our store. Travel-inspired apparel and accessories designed for travelers, creators, and island lifestyle lovers. If you love Caribbean culture, aviation, tourism, right? And also global exploration, go check out our latest collections and support independent Caribbean entrepreneurship. Also, sponsored by allglory.com, right? All Glory has some amazing apparel where you could get some of your nostalgic wear and some artists merch. So go check them out at allglory.com, right? And of course, want to give big respects again to Blessings CMOS out of St. Lucia for supporting the movement. Beautiful local product from St. Lucia. Go check them out, right? We'll provide the website and the contact information in our descriptions, right? Don't forget to support the local movement. That's how we encourage the youth to keep on pushing and keep on doing what they do, right? Now, customer service needs attention, guys. Our customer service really urgently needs some attention. Now, let's have another real conversation. Customer service. St. Lucia desperately needs strong customer service. Consistency in tourism. And I say this with all the love in my heart, guys, because guess what? St. Lucians are some of the nicest people in the world. I think something has happened and our attitudes are changing. We are beginning to get money hungry. So we need to remember who we are, where we come from, and why people love our island. We are not aggressive people. We are passionate people, But of course, I understand when you're not feeling like you've treated fairly, especially monetarily, can bring down the self-esteem or make you not want to give better, right? But also, if you want to get paid and you want to get up there in life, you have to treat people how you would want to be treated. One day it could be you on vacation. That is now my real world. I used to work in hotels in Saint Lucia, right? Mandatory customer service training across hospitality and tourism sector would help tremendously around the island, because people are actually jumping in random bars to just patronize. They want to be around the locals and they need to get good customer service, right? Hotels, restaurants, transportation, events, security personnel, front desk teams, everybody, the bartenders, especially the bartenders. Because tourism today is not just about beautiful beaches anymore. It's about the experience. People remember how you make them feel, whether it's good or bad. So that's why you want to make every experience of another human being special, right? And sometimes in the Caribbean, not just St. Lucia, we struggle with consistency. And I can tell you that I've jumped through a few of the islands, a majority of them. We have some beautiful people in the Caribbean, but something is missing. Something is going on, man. We can't be like those people out here. It's not just a St. Lucia thing. We struggle with consistency. One employee, amazing and over the moon. Another employee acts like guest sign and inconvenience to them. It's crazy. That inconsistency damages the brand. And for locals, sometimes the treatment feels even older. That has to change, especially because locals are often the ones promoting the island the hardest internationally. Word of mouth marketing is priceless. If locals feel respected, they become ambassadors naturally. Just letting y'all know, right? I'll give you a quick story about me jumping to 3 bars in the south of the island on Mother's Day with the 3 most important women in my life. Well, 3 of them, because we have a few more. My wife, my mom, and my sister. We walked out of 3 bars because nobody cared. Like literally, I've never seen anything like that. And like I've said, I do not beg to spend my money. So we walked out of the bar. The first one, second one, very same thing. Second one, no, the first one, God, I can't even remember. 3 people came and nobody took an order. Nobody even offered a glass of water. It's crazy. Second one, yeah, they just took their time and just never actually cared. The third one, I told them, hey, y'all have like 10 people around the bar waiting for drinks. The young lady stood behind the kitchen and said, wait and take your time. By the time she said that, I was gone. And my family came with me and left. I'm pretty sure the rest of the people at the bar left. If I was the owner of that bar, I would be so heartbroken and disappointed. I'll be so heartbroken and disappointed. But we'll leave this for another day. So like I said, I believe we need to be trained in customer service across the board. It's just common sense. You have to treat people how you love to be treated. Because one day you could be the visitor. You could be the tourist, right? You could travel to another country and you'd hope that you get great customer service, right? Now, let's move along. The traffic situation. Oh, wow. Never knew St. Lucia had traffic like this. Now, let's discuss the elephant in the room. Traffic. My goodness. The traffic situation was horrible and terrible mixed together. And I don't use that word lightly. Rodney Bay to Royalton should not become a 2.5-hour experience. That's exhausting. It was so exhausting that I did not make it to Grocery Friday night. Exhausted. We checked into the resort around 9 p.m., which is very late because traffic delayed everything. It was all over the radio and everything else. Now, thankfully, our rooms were upgraded, so respect for that from Royalton. But they removed the butler service from the original arrangement. So it became one of those situations where you're grateful, but also disappointed at the same time, especially as an agent who has booked business and group stays there before. The part honestly surprised me. But here's the positive side, right? We still made the best of the experience. I actually got one of the best rooms in the hotel, which had a swim-up pool, which was excellent. Our own personal pool. Of course, tubs in the room and everything else. That's usually a standard for me because my wife loves to have a tub. The facilities were nice and we enjoyed ourselves regardless. All right? But moving forward, I genuinely believe supporting more local hotels, brands may be the better move for many travelers. Specifically, Bay Gardens Beach Resort and Spa, Ladera Resort, even Jade Mountain, Coco Palm, and Shasney. And there are a few more. There are some small places that I reached out to and you guys never reached out back to me. Very disappointing because I've done inspections with you guys and it was specifically for the small hotels to be promoted so that you guys can get business. All I asked for was some communication. I understand any situation you would have told me, right? But we want to support the local brands. Clearly, Royalton is not from Saint Lucia. Royalton is disconnected from what's going on to a certain extent. You guys are okay, but you could do better. I've lost 3 night stays out there. I've brought groups of people out there. I've had to cancel a whole group last year. I expected better. I would have loved to tip my butler, right? I would have loved to tell him the story of how we came from working in hotels to working on a cruise ship to going to school for tourism to owning a travel agency to owning a podcast to owning a clothing brand. I love to inspire my people. And sometimes local hospitality simply feels, guys, warmer and more connected culturally. That's what we felt the last time when we stayed at Bay Gardens. Even Windjammer Landing was amazing as well too. The experience there was amazing. I've been for a lot of the hotels, and it wasn't like Royalton, not Sandals Grand, not Sandals Latok, Sandals Halcyon, Tikai. The list goes on. Coconut Bay. There were so many hotels. I've never experienced what we experienced at Royalton, but like I said, we were grateful for the upgrade, but also disappointed that you guys took away certain things. Also, like I said, it took so long to get to the hotel, which was also not your fault. Now, want to jump right into a break. You're listening to Island Vacation Travel Podcast with your host, Lucia. This episode is brought to you by Island Vacation Travel Agency. If you need help planning your next Caribbean vacation destination, wedding, group trips, business travel experiences, or even your cruises, visit islandvacays.com. Right? And don't forget to support, again, Blessings CMOS out of Saint Lucia, celebrating island creativity, culture, and entrepreneurship as well. Okay? Now, event layout. Jump right into it. Vendors and opportunities. Now, one thing I noticed immediately, the pack setup changed from 2 years ago. And honestly, I prefer the aspect of this setup. There seems to be more open space this time around. More vendors, more opportunities for locals, and that matters economically. That's the purpose of tourism. Events like Saint Lucia Jazz should actually create opportunities at every single level. From the man on the side of the road, to the vendors in the stalls, to the technicians, to the bosses, to security, to food, to toilet rentals, and just everything. Cleaners, even which I don't agree with, volunteers. But it also gives an aim, a door to get into production and events if you volunteer. So that's the way you actually do it as well, guys. Some of us go to school, some of us are lucky, some of us join unions, and some of us actually have to volunteer, and then you might get an opportunity to get paid the next year. So that's how that works. And it's worldwide. Events in England, events in America, Super Bowl, NBA All-Stars, everything. There are always volunteers in there, right? Like I said, one more thing we must not forget. Most importantly, the local artists must benefit from those opportunities. The craft vendors, right? Transportation providers, photographers, the small businesses. The event should feel like a full economic ecosystem because tourism money should circulate deeper into the local economy. Now, one thing I did appreciate this year, the VIP placement. Very mindful setup. VIP was front stage right without consuming the entire front stage area. That was actually genius. That was smart. Because sometimes events accidentally create class separation energy where general admission guests feel disconnected from the stage. This setup actually balanced everything better. So credit for there. Credit, big credit for that. I really loved how they set up the VIP because the last time it was all the way to the back, right? Now, water, transportation, and logistics. Another major missed opportunity. Guys, water transportation, offering more water transfers from hotels could have significantly reduced traffic pressure. Imagine leaving your hotel by boat, smooth ride, music playing, beautiful scenery. There was a sunset as well. That becomes part of your experience itself. And we did that. That's how we pulled up into Jazz on a boat. St. Lucia has incredible natural assets. Use the water more strategically because road congestion during major events damages the visitor's experience, right? And traffic patterns definitely need better organization moving forward. Shuttle service existed, but the execution still felt disorganized in movements. And when people are already tired after a long concert night, the last thing you want is confusion getting home. It is not fun. Logistics matter, and it matters a lot. That's why we have a transportation business, right? Now, before we close, guys, out today's episode, again, I want to say a huge thank you to IVTA Wear Store, travel, lifestyle apparel inspired by island culture and global exploration. Also, oldglory.com. Want to say thank you to you. And Island Vacation Travel Agency, helping travelers and businesses travel smarter with personalized service and global insight. And special love to Blessings Simos out of St. Lucia for continuing to support culture, creativity, and community and keeping everybody healthy with a healthy snack. I actually enjoy that snack, right? Now, overall, I do believe St. Lucia Jazz 2026 Wilbits night was successful. The crowd came out. The artists performed brilliantly. The energy was strong. And hopefully, the island generated tremendous economic benefits from the event. But success should never stop us from evaluating areas that need improvement because St. Lucia has the capability to become elite globally in cultural tourism, not average, elite. But that requires better traffic management, better local inclusion, better customer service, consistency. It needs to be like, that's what we do. That's how we will actually. More opportunities for local businesses, more respect for our St. Lucian artists, and strong systems overall. And listen, criticism does not mean a lack of love, guys. Okay? Sometimes criticism is actually love. Because when you love something, you want to see it evolve. You want to see it improve. You want to see your people win. And I will always advocate for St. Lucia. Always. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Island Vacation Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Lucia. And until next time, guys, support local, travel smarter, and never underestimate the power of culture, tourism, and community working together. Peace. You know what? Thank you guys for all you do. Leave us some comments at the bottom. Let us know what's your opinion, whether you attended jazz, whether you attended the Friday night, the Saturday night, or the Sunday night, so we could get some general feedback as to how you all felt about Brandy and Monica's performance. We heard some very good feedback as well. Again, appreciate you guys, and you guys have a great time.